make a determination as to whether the president committed a crime.
7 hours of testimony from special counsel Robert Mueller about Russian election interference. So what does this mean going forward? I'm Jeff Hullinger, joined by 11Alive political analyst. Chandelle Summer is a conservative talk show host on the radio, WDUN in Gainesville, and Quentin Washington is a Democratic strategist. We're glad to have both of you here tonight. Chandelle, we'll begin with you because you're sitting closer to me here. President Trump claims victory. Is this the end of the Trump-Russia scandal politically through your view?
I think that what today represents is a trial balloon that the Democrats have floated in order to determine whether or not there's an appetite for impeachment.
This was a very big day for the Republican Party. The Democrats had nothing.
I think they were hoping there would be some revelation which would cause people to change their mind about impeachment, because at present only 21% of Americans want to see the president impeached.
Quentin, politically, where do you think this goes for the Democrats now?
I think because we're living in a constitutional crisis right now, we don't know. And ultimately, I think that as more people come before the American public and actually say what happened that caused us to get here, I then think the country and our elected officials will make a determination.
Do you believe that we are any closer to impeachment today than we were yesterday?
Yes.
What we established today in the hearing is that we have a felon sitting in the White House. Donald Trump committed multiple crimes of obstruction of justice.
No, I think we're even further away from impeachment. I think that this probably will end any talk of impeachment. We're so close to an election. If there were really the desire to remove President Trump from office, it'll be apparent very shortly when we have the election.
Is there a revelation today that surprised you? Anything in the 6 hours that you did not know, that you heard, that you go, yeah, that's what I wanted to hear?
The only thing that surprised me was the way the Republicans attacked Mueller, who I think did them a big favor by his findings that there was no conspiracy between President Trump's campaign and the Russians. But they seem to revel in attacking him for some type of conflict of interest, suggesting that he wanted the job as the FBI director and that he was mad and therefore he was taking it out on President Trump.
How about the revelation for you, Quentin?
I think there were two statements when Robert Mueller answered yes when he was being questioned about whether or not the president could be indicted after he left office. And I think that was very telling, because that meant that the actions that took place while he was in office amount to something that could indict him. And the question that we all as Americans are concerned about is one person above the law? And clearly if he can't be indicted because of the position that he's in, that means the answer is yes. And that's a constitutional crisis that we're in currently, and our kids will be learning about how we resolve this in 10 to 15 years from now.
Does it change any of the president's approval ratings publicly, do you think?
I don't believe that it will move the needle a whole lot. I mean, people are pretty much dyed in the wool when it comes to their political opinions about President Trump. You have a solid 40% that are with him, and there may be a little bit of a middle, and then the other 40% are against him. So I don't think you'll see a grand shift. I don't think there's anyone who hasn't already made up their mind about President Trump and about the whole Mueller investigation.
Is there a danger for Democrats to push this forward to the point where it gets in the way for the election process, as 20 Democrats are trying to find their way to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue? Does it get in the way of what they're trying to accomplish in saying to the American people that enough is enough?
To some extent, but if you raise your right hand and swear an oath to the Constitution, and the Constitution is under attack because of the individuals that are involved in this, then you got a greater duty to the country than you do to your political ambitions. And so it's the hope that our elected officials will look at this and say, all right, if we decide not to impeach, how do we make a stand that no one person is above the law based on what they did? And when you have Mueller answer yes to questions about whether he can be indicted after he leaves office for what he did in office, I think that's very telling.
I found myself tonight reading an editorial in the New York Post, and granted that's a Republican newspaper owned by Rupert Murdoch, but nonetheless, the editorial's theme essentially was this: what a waste of time. This has been a waste of money, it's been a waste of energy, a waste of effort. It has no burn in the political theater of America. Agree or disagree? And I need a quick response from you as we begin to exit.
Well, I agree, but I will say that one of the points that was brought up today was that the Manafort prosecution netted $42 million in seized assets, which is enough to pay for the Mueller investigation.
It's not a waste of time because part of the democracy says that no one person is above the law, and now we have to figure out what that means when that person in question is the President of the United States.
I want to thank both of you for being with us tonight. We appreciate your observation and your insights on a subject that goes round, and where it ends, nobody knows.
Thank you.